In this video, we are going to talk about hyperglycemia, also known as highs, which means that your blood glucose levels are too high. Your diabetes team will let you know what numbers are considered to be too high. Hyperglycemia is different to hypoglycemia, or hypos, which are when your glucose levels are too low. You will have highs as well as hypos. This is a normal part of diabetes. In the beginning, you might have lots of both as you learn how to control your diabetes. Hyperglycemia and hypoglycemia are caused by a mismatch between food and insulin. Hyperglycemia can result from you eating more than what you had estimated your carbohydrate intake to be, resulting in high glucose levels. A classic example would be if you ate a chocolate bar in the middle of the afternoon with no insulin, your blood glucose levels would go up. The sweeter the food, or the more food you eat, the higher your glucose level is going to go. Another reason for hyperglycemia could be illness, when you are poorly, but we will talk more about this in detail in a later video. Puberty, growth spurts or stress can also cause highs. Sometimes we don't know the reason why your blood glucose goes up. Sometimes these things just happen. It is worth mentioning exercise here as well. Generally, when you exercise, we expect blood glucose levels to drop, but occasionally, depending on the different types of exercise, it may actually go higher. Identifying signs and symptoms of highs is not quite as clear as identifying them for hypos. Sometimes you can actually feel perfectly well with a high glucose level. The classic symptoms can be feeling thirsty, needing to go to the toilet more, you will be more tired and experience a lack of energy. If you are high for a longer period of time, you might lose weight. Think back to just before you got diagnosed with your diabetes. You would probably have experienced all these symptoms because your glucose levels were sky high. The main way to get your blood glucose levels back down is by giving more insulin, and that is when we talk about correction doses. So, for example, if you were going to eat a meal and your blood glucose level was too high, you would make your insulin dose a bit higher to bring it back down to the normal range again. If that happens on a regular basis, then that means your insulin requirements have gone up. Generally, as you get older, you are going to need more insulin, particularly through puberty, so insulin doses will need to be adjusted regularly. If you have a one-off high, you just correct according to your correction dose. If it is happening more regularly, we would want you to contact your diabetes team so they can help you to adjust your doses of insulin. As time goes on, you will have the skills to make these adjustments yourself. Hyperglycemia can create ketones. We will talk more about ketones in the during illness session, but it's worth mentioning at this stage that if you have a high blood glucose level and feel unwell, you must check for ketones. Ketones are dangerous. Ketones can be checked in the same way as you test your blood glucose in your meter, but you just use a different strip. Any illness, things like coughs, colds, flu, and any type of infection can affect your blood glucose levels and generally cause these to go higher rather than lower. The only exception to that is if you have diarrhea or are being sick. This will generally make you have lower glucose levels. Having high blood glucose levels for a long period of time can lead to complications later on in life, so it is very important that you gain good control of your glucose levels.